Alright, so I was assigned topic B. Anti-price gouging laws aim to protect consumers from significantly increased costs for consumer goods and services when natural disasters occur. Due to this, demand for necessary goods such as water, food, clothing, and appliances are at extremely high levels. These laws are activated as soon as a state of emergency or disaster is declared by the state government. Essentially, the main reason anti-price gouging laws are harmful is due to the fact that in most cases, upon implementation, they result in shortages. This is because placing a cap on the price in which sellers can sell a good during a state of emergency can be quite problematic due to the fact that these vital goods needed during the emergency are of extremely high demand, and by not allowing sellers to increase the price in which they charge for this good and by forcing them to charge a lower fixed price, the supply is sure to deplete at a much faster rate, and thus will result in a shortage during a time in which these goods are of extreme importance. This in turn will affect the supply that can be distributed to a wider area of people, since the market is now in a state of inequilibrium as the demand outweighs the supply, and the prices being charged are much less than what they should be due to the anti-price gouging laws being implemented. Also, with the lower price is hoarding maker, in which some people may purchase extra of the particular good than they require, and this as well can greatly contribute to the shortages at hand, as there is less of the good available to go around for everyone. A study conducted in 2007 by Michael Giberson regarding a paper in the Journal of Competition Law and Economics, whose purpose was to examine the direct effects of anti-price gouging laws. The study revealed that during Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, the implementation of an anti-price gouging law would have increased the total national economic loss by approximately $2 billion. The brunt of this cost is faced by the state or province that endured the natural disaster, and less of the burden falls directly on the rest of the nation. This is because the interference of the government prevents sellers from being able to distribute their goods to areas and people where they would be of most use due to the rapid shortages occurring due to the inequilibrium between supply and demand. Excuse me. A potential hypothetical policy governments could implement during a natural disaster is a temporary sales tax of sorts on buyers in these particular markets. The implementation of a tax on goods and services during a time of disaster would serve ultimately to shift the demand curve of consumers to the left and ultimately balance out the supply and demand equilibrium. This is because when buyers are forced to pay a tax on a particular good, they will decrease their demand for that good, which ultimately could serve to bring an end to the once seen shortages via the anti-price gouging laws. Another separate hypothetical policy that could potentially be used is a temporary non-binding price ceiling during a state of emergency. Essentially, a price ceiling is the maximum price that sellers can charge buyers for a good or service. When the price ceiling is non-binding, it means it is equal or greater than the equilibrium price of that particular good. Thus, the price ceiling would create a price cap in which consumers cannot exceed and sellers cannot charge more than for their products. So ultimately, this would have no negative effect on the price or quantity sold for these goods. This will result in a stable equilibrium state in which the demand will be in line with the supply, and ultimately the shortages seen under anti-price gouging laws will be virtually non-existent in this case, and the goods needed will be available to a greater spectrum of people who require it.